Hi, my name's Tom. InnoView sent me this 27-inch curved monitor to go ahead and give an honest review. It's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and actually talk about the hardware itself. This is the monitor itself, and there's a slight curve to it. It's almost hard to see in the video, but let's see here. You can see the curve, and that actually really makes a big difference when you're actually using it. Now, the stand itself, you have to assemble. There's one screw on the bottom, and it's actually a key screw, so that's real nice and easy. And then on the back, there are actually 4 screws that you actually attach the monitor to the stand. That's it. It even comes with a little screwdriver of its own. So you don't even need any tools. You just kind of take it out, screw the base on, screw this on. Several nice features here. First and foremost, this stand is metal. It is solid. It's not plastic. It's got a good weight to it. It's very sturdy. It's not going to fall over unless you're really trying to push it. 2, this slides up and down. It's spring mounted, but it's spring mounted with weight. So as long as the weight of the monitor is on it, it will go up and down. When you first get it out of the box, it may think, oh my gosh, it doesn't work because it's stuck there. No, the weight keeps it up and down. So that's really nice. 2, this thing actually swivels in 2 different directions. It swivels up and down like this, but it also swivels side to side. That is actually also really, really nice. If you want to go ahead, depending upon how your office is set up or how your desk is set up, this really gives you a lot of flexibility with that. I could even see setting up 2 of these and kind of angling them into each other and kind of building a whole kind of a dome or kind of a rounded wall full of monitors. It's that nice of a monitor. Along the bottom, you're going to have your ports. You'll have a power port, a USB port, an audio out port. It does have a D connector, a little D pin connector, and then also has obviously HDMI in. The power cord is actually a power block, so the power block goes in here, a thin little cord, I mean a little thin little plug down in the back, so that's kind of nice. You do get an HDMI cable with it. I'm actually using my extra one. And then you also get a D cable. That's actually kind of nice as well. Monitors don't often include the D cable connector, but you have it here just in case you happen to come across something with a D connector. You got an extra cable. That's appreciated. The monitor then has 5 little buttons along the back of it, where you can just reach around and you can kind of use your fingers. They're not actual physical buttons. They're just little plastic indents, but they work just fine. You have a menu button, an exit button, an up and down button, and then a power button. So the power button is on the back, and all the menu buttons are on the back. So you have nothing visual on the front of the monitor to obscure your view or add any sort of ugly little buttons or bobbles or anything. It's just a nice looking monitor overall. It really is. It should also be noted that the actual stand itself, obviously these 4 screws here, they're also VESA screws. You can get a regular wall mount and you can mount it onto anything else. So you can have a monitor mount or a wall mount, and these are pretty standard measurements. So you can mount them elsewhere as well. You don't have to use the stand, but it does come with it. So what's the video actually look like? Well, here you go. I'm going to turn it on. Now, showing video of a monitor on a video is always a little bit of a degradation, so it's not going to look as good on this video as it actually does here. This is a 4K demo, and you can see it's just beautiful. It's actually just a loop. By the way, the monitor does also have speakers, and you can control the volume, again, with the up and down buttons. If the last menu item you worked with was the volume, so that's what I always do. When I go into the menu, I just go down to volume and kind of stay there, and then I can use my up and down arrows to just change the volume on the fly. I'm not going to play it right here, but the volume is plenty loud. If you want to have really booming volume, obviously you want to use external speakers, or you want to go ahead and put headphones in somewhere. But it does have a volume built in. Just plug the HDMI cable in, and volume automatically comes through. Let's talk about color. It's got a 99% sRGB color gamut with a 3000:1 contrast ratio, which is pretty good for a gaming monitor in general. I've used it for a bunch of different things by now, and the color is just truly amazing. The monitor itself, again, with my little menu, I can control all sorts of things: brightness, contrast, eco, HDR mode. HDR mode is kind of a mode that just overrides all this stuff and kind of gives you just a burst of color. I actually like it. I was playing with the settings. I turned it off for now, but for actual gaming, I actually like HDR mode because it really just gives you brightness and contrast and high color, and it works great. So for business applications, this sort of thing is great. So here I have Excel, and then I have a Windows Explorer kind of in the background. I can kind of bounce back and forth between them. I have other applications. As a wider monitor, this is actually very useful for business, and the curvature kind of brings you you into the application itself. It's a strange feeling, but I do feel a little closer or a little more involved with the application. So if you're going to use this monitor for multiple things like gaming and business, don't worry, this works great for business purposes. And again, the width of the monitor, because it's kind of a wider monitor, it allows me to have multiple applications on the screen at one time. That's really nice. So I hooked this up to my Xbox just to really see the 200 hertz, the speed of the gameplay. I mean, played a couple games of Fortnite here, and this is actually much smoother than my TV, which is a couple years old. It's just beautiful. It really is. You can just kind of, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the animation is smoother. It seems like you have more frames. There's just less blur. It's a nice sharp image. It really is very, very nice. And again, I'm just playing this on a regular old Xbox, HDMI in, ready to go. And this looks wonderful. My son played it on his Xbox Series X and his PS5 just for an hour or two a couple hours ago, and he loved it too. He thought it was really great. He's got a TV down in the basement, so that's what he uses as well. But this is actually a really, really nice, it's just a really nice picture. It's beautiful. And again, you can still use the monitor or the menu settings to change all the images if you want. So yeah, really pretty nice. This is a really good monitor for a lot of different purposes. I like the curve more than I like the flat, but just by a little bit. I'm into the curve. I'm a fan of the curve monitor now. I hadn't used one before this, but now I'm actually a fan of it, and I think I'm going to request one at work as well. But yeah, this is actually very nice. I highly recommend this. You can't go wrong.